Hello and welcome to It Gets So Lonely Here. This is a visual novel which is about a character who is running through a forest away from someone. That's about all I know, so let's start a new game. Running through a forest. It is late at night, and the sky is as black as pitch. There's nothing to light your way, save for the moon's milky glow, but its rays cannot reach you, not properly. Trees which surround you, jutting out of the earth like eerie monuments to a foreign god, are blotting out most of its light. You cannot see where you are going. Even if you had commenced your flight at a more sensible hour, however, the light of the sun to aid you, it would be of little use. You do not know where you are going. You have no map, no route, no plan. You're running like a frightened animal, anxious and nervy, with no destination in mind. You have no desire as you run, save to escape. Cannot let yourself be caught. If that were to happen, you were certain that you would be ruined. Have no choice, therefore, but to keep going, on and on and on, though your feet are screaming at you for mercy. You have no idea how long you have been running. Time has begun to blend together. It has lost all meaning. Something sharp snags at the hem of your skirt, but you do not have the luxury to pause and examine what had happened. Instead, you tug. Skirt tears, sound splitting through the forest. You stumble forwards with a shocked gasp. You're free, but at what cost? The skirt has been irreversibly damaged. Might be too late to worry about such trivial matters now, though. If you do not start running again, soon she will catch you. Then, your life will be over. Do not know if she is still following you, but you do not want to risk looking over your shoulder. You to see her, silhouetted beneath a tree, looking at you with that sickly sweet smile which once ensnared you. You would lose what little nerves you possess. Legs would lock up, and your blood would freeze in your veins. Then you would crumble. You would fall, but you would not hit the ground. She would be there to catch you. Did she not promise, when you made that contract, that you would never be alone? I would like to take back that silly wish of yours, but it's too late for that. Too late for a lot of things. What we can do is run. You run and run and run. Icy fog swirls around about your feet. It's cold enough to sap the heat from your body, and you shudder from it. Feels as though you're drowning. Feels as though you have been buried alive. Knees and your shins, meanwhile, are bleeding. Cannot endure much more of this. But if you value your own life, you must. You run and run and run until, at long last, reach a fork in the road. There are 3 paths which split off through the forest. Well, 4 if you count the path down which you came. Cannot exactly double back on yourself, though. Not when you have put so much effort into running forwards. Can only press on. 3 paths are signposts, which is something of a strange sight, given you are so deep in the forest. Dark though it may be, you are growing accustomed to shadows. You can just about pick out the writing on this old, dilapidated signpost. Curved and slanted through it is. Your fate, if you will forgive me for sounding cliche, is in your hands. Now, I wonder, which path will you take? Ooh, we get a first choice. The shore, the village, or the castle. I'm interested by the castle. Go there. So, you want to go to the castle? Good idea. All decent fairy tales tend to conclude in castles once they're, whatever that word is, put upon heroes are finally able to wed the handsome princess they once dreamed of. Why bother trying your luck with the shore, which may very well be deserted, or the village, which will be full of dirty, barefoot peasants? It's far better to skip the suffering and go straight to the grand finale. It's very astute of you. Thanks, I guess. Did not realize you had it in you to be so mercenary. I can only wonder what you will uncover during your moonlit meanderings. Now it's far from over, and your adventures are only just beginning. Hope that you have brushed up on your courtesies. It might come in handy when one is interacting with a sovereign. Royals can be temperamental after all. If you fail to treat them with the prerequisite amount of respect, you might come to regret it. Follow the path which leads to the castle, supporting yourself on weary, aching legs. Feel ready. You're a little more than a wisp of a girl, but you have been running for super. Exactly wait for you at the castle, but you have visions as you run, with vast kind of princess. Every good castle must possess a princess who would take a pity. Buds. Limbs will be slender, her hands steady and unsullen from physical. You are only guessing. Don't worry, you're not really missing out on much. Comes to caring for the peasantry. Was there not a famous queen who wanted in a time of need? This will not always happen. In fact, it very rarely happens. It can also be careless and selfish and inconsiderate. There is no guarantee that this mythical princess of yours, of your imagination, will help you. Why, there is no guarantee that this mythical princess exists at all. Still, you must try. It's this hope which keeps you going. You continue to run to the castle. It takes some time before you finally emerge from the woods, but finally you do it. How much time, you ask? Cannot answer that. Did it not say that time has begun to lose all its meaning? Forest is behind you now, at least, and all awful nightmares which dwelt within. It is still cold though, and foggy, and very, very dark. The sun has yet to rise. You can see the moon more clearly now, though, as it hangs above your head, round as any pearl, or orb, or crystal ball. Moonlight shines down upon the castle, which looms in front of you like a cliffside. Stone edifices of the building is imposing, and it drowns you in shadows darker than the depths of the deepest ocean. Castle is not all dark though, not like the night sky above it. When you crane your head, you can see that there are lights flickering within the narrow slitted windows. It appears that somebody's home. King and the Queen, perhaps? What of their servants? What, perhaps, more pressingly, of the guards? Half expected as you stand there, the armored knights will cost you for daring to approach the castle, Queen and Queen so-and-so. Do you not know your place, forge peasant girl with the dirty skirt? Be gone with you. You are not, of course, a peasant. Family is a wealthy one, or rather, they were, for your father had made a series of poor financial decisions. Do not look like a young lady right now, though, with your dirty face and your dirty skirt, which is torn at the hem. Many guards were to take you for vagrant, it would not be surprising. But though you stand there dithering, your filthy fingers hooked in front of your filthy skirt, do not hear any cries. Nobody sounds the alarm. Lights might be on inside, but there was nobody outside its perimeters standing sentry. There is nobody to impede your entry, and the elaborate iron gates which are set into the vast stone walls about the castle's exterior are open, just a crack. It would be a trivial matter to slip inside. There's nobody to stop you. Why are you trembling now, you silly thing? You've come so very far. It would be an act of foolishness to turn around now. Go on, go. Inhale, perhaps in an attempt to screw up your courage, which has at long last begun to fail you. And then you step forward. Slide between the wrought iron gates, stealthily and as secretive as a thief, and cross the path which leads up to the tall, imposing structure. Domed doorway which leads into the castle itself, hewn from stone, is closed, but at a push of your palm, swings inwards. Door cracks alarmingly as it opens. Sound loud enough to split the silence like a thunderclap. Inhale at this, glance around, your eyes darting hither and thither. If there were any guards posted about the castle's grounds, you should all have been alerted by the sound. Will they come for you at long last? I mean, sure the clapping on my ass cheeks are alerting them. I mean, my dress all torn up and stuff, I'm sure there's a bit more breeze coming in. Okay, anyway. What will happen should they catch you? Will they throw you in the dungeons? Does not sound like a pleasant way to spend the night. At least you would have a roof over your head though, and you would not have to keep walking. Feet really do ache. Stand there for an indeterminate amount of time, your heart pounding, a panicked, irregular rhythm in the base of your throat. But no matter how much time elapses, no guards come. You're thankful for good luck, though it does not make you wonder. Or it does make you wonder. Where is everybody? Why? It is almost as if all the people in the world have disappeared. Could you be the very last human left alive? Frown, then press your palm back against the door. Well, if they haven't been alerted to my presence now, they definitely have now, because that was a loud squeaky door. Push less cautiously this time, heedless of the loud sound which splits the silence. There's no point in worrying about the guards, not when they might very well be non-existent. Entry to the castle is secured, you then take a step forward. Door swings shut behind you. Whatever that word is, slam makes you jump. Did not expect it. Heart knocks against your rope's end. With wild eyes, you glance about. You are standing in a vast entrance hall, made of stone which splits off into any number of passages. At the very end of the hall, meanwhile, there is a large, elaborate staircase, one which seems to extend to the heavens themselves. In the dark inside the hall, but there are numerous torches, sconces in the stone wall, which are aflame. They offer some relief from the shadows. You can hear the faint sound of the wind outdoors, as it murmurs against the castle's impervious walls, but you cannot hear any footsteps, cannot hear any voices, cannot, more importantly, hear any people. Maybe the castle is empty. That was the case though, then who lit the torches? It was a curious conundrum. Muster up what remains of your courage, and then cry out, addressing the empty halls in a timorous voice, which fails to properly fill up the space. Hello, you say, eyes wide. Is anybody there? Voice echoes through the vast empty hall, but is met yet again with silence. Cannot say you are too surprised, but it's somewhat disappointing. Not one to be deterred, you try again, and again, voice growing louder with each subsequent attempt. No matter how loud your voice, however, it fails to reach any ears. If anybody is here, do not seem to be particularly sociable. That, or perhaps they simply cannot hear you. Could they be in another room? Yes, that must be it. You'll never find that pretty fairy tale princess of your imagination if you stand idle, you know. Is it time to get to work? Put those legs of yours to good use? Not knowing what else to do, is there anything else that you can do? You begin to explore. Examine the rooms first on the ground floor of the castle, which are a similar scale of the impressive entrance hall, large and richly furnished but utterly unoccupied. After some time of aimlessly meandering, encountering nobody save the ghosts of aliens past memorialized on portraits upon the walls, you muster the courage to ascend to the second floor. This floor, too, you examine, wandering through a seemingly endless series of halls until, at long last, you find a door which is ajar. From between the crack in the door and the jamb, you can see flickering light. Irregular, yes, but it is a light nonetheless. Could it be from a fireplace? That would suggest then that this room is occupied, unlike all the others. Perhaps the kindly princess you dreamed of will be awaiting you in this room. It is with a trembling hand that you press your palm against the door. You push it. Then you step inside the bedchamber, which unveils itself to you. Shyly, you stand in the threshold of the chamber. Much of your courage extinguished and gasp. The bedroom itself is gorgeous. It is a chamber so luxuriant, not even the shutters can obscure the fine craft of the furniture within it, nor the rich patterns on the walls. It is the girl inhabiting the chamber, however, who truly takes your breath away. Ooh, hi. Looking very blue, my lady? Also, very interesting attire. Almost looks like it has like teeth or something, like a dress. Well, it's very spiked. Like the crown on top of her head too. Sitting upon the velveteen sheets of the towering four-poster is a girl, in a sumptuous red gown, who seems to be of a like age to you. You do not have a clear view of the girl's face. Head is bowed, gaze directed downwards at her lap. You can tell from her hair, however, and from her slender curls, which protrude from beneath the hem of her dress, that she is very pretty. The girl's hair is golden, just like freshly cut wheat, but it's the red of her dress which truly captures your attention. She is so striking you cannot look away from her. The girl is not alone in the chamber either. She has a companion, though this companion is not half so enduring as she. This thing is fucking creepy. Oh, it is a doll, okay. Like I say, it's a very creepy baby otherwise. Don't like it. Can we just throw it into the fire immediately? Don't trust it. In her lap, perched upon her velvet skirt, is a doll. Doll's hair, like that of her mistress's, is golden, though much of it is hidden underneath the bonnet. The girl is adjusting the china teacup held in her doll's tiny hand, while the rim of the cup glints in the light which exudes from the fireplace. The girl is a similar age to you. Seems strange that she would content herself by playing with dolls. Is she not too old for it? I mean, you're never too old to do things, but... And yeah, I mean, if she's the only one living in this place, then yeah, it'd get very, very fucking lonely. This girl would be more at home, you decide, at a ball, wearing an extravagant gown, speaking with wealthy noblemen, perhaps even princes. Should not be sitting in what you presume is a bedchamber, just in a teacup in a doll's hand. But you are not afforded much more time to stand there, marveling at the girl, because she turns. She raises her head. Then her eyes meet yours. You thought the girl pretty when you first observed her, sitting on the edge of her plush, velveteen bed, examining her doll. Now she's looking at you, however, face illuminated by the flames in their grate. You can see that you were mistaken. Man, you're fucking rude. You're not just pretty. She is beautiful. Oh, never mind. I thought you were gonna say, never mind, she's not actually that pretty. She's fucking ugly. She is beautiful. So much so, it's breathtaking. Looks as though she has stepped out of the pages of a picture book. She is simply too perfect to belong to this world. Perhaps she is some kind of vision, waking dream, hallucination. But no, she is none of those things. Doll on her lap is cold, hard thing made of porcelain. It is unflinchingly, reassuringly real. If she were a mirage, surely she would not be able to handle physical objects such as this. It is strange, though. Doll, though immaculately made, looks oddly imperfect when compared to the girl who was holding it. She is so startlingly beautiful. She even puts man-made representations of feminine charms to shame. The sight of her makes you feel rather weak. You always have had a fondness for fair maidens, haven't you? You're rather hopeless when it comes to them. You're worse than a knight errant from a courtly legend. Your aesthetic appreciation is not particularly ladylike, but, well, it's not every day a girl encounters an elegant beauty like this, tied in red, illuminated by the firelight. I suppose I can forgive you for this rudeness, as too can the girl. Does not seem to be the type to hold a grudge. Oh, the girl says, a voice that surprisingly enough far less refined than her appearance. It's good to see you. I've been waiting. Has she? That is news to you. You blink, perplexed, in response to on the tip of your tongue, but you are unable to expel it into the ether. Or ether. Girl is setting her doll aside. Then she stands, the hem of her dress swishing about her legs. Nimbly like a ballerina, she canvasses the space between you. The room is so very large. It is quite a lot of space. Then she takes your hands in her own. You must, the girl says. Her eyes aglow with excitement. Be my new lady's maid. It's been a while, but it's such a relief that you finally arrived. Knew that you would. Never leave me alone. Not when you knew how long I was waiting. I'm so happy. Girl's good mood is contagious, so much so you find yourself being swept away in it. You're tempted to accept any identity she might press upon you. You've never been a maid before, but you would not mind being the girl's maid. It does not seem like a poor mistress to serve. No, she is always this kind. You cannot mask the confusion, however, which flickers across your face. You're not good enough actress, and, in any case, this is all happening too quickly. Why, you barely know this girl. Why is she being so very familiar? It was this blank, bovine eyes that examined the girl. Your befuddlement is pronounced enough that even the girl, despite a good mood, notices it. She frowns. Then she says, her fingers sliding away from your own, "Or am I mistaken? Are you not my new lady's maid after all?" Disappointment in the girl's face is abundant, so much so your heart clenches. You do not know her. She is still a stranger, but you were struck all of a sudden with the intense desire to appease her. You do not want to let her down. The thought is devastating. You are not aware, you tell her, that you had applied to be her maid, but if this is what she wills, you would not be opposed to it. Pray that she forgives you, though, for your discombobulation. You come from a distant country and you have travelled for many miles. You know not where you are, and you do not know who she is. What? You do not know who I am? It is regrettable, you tell her, but no, you do not know her, though this is no fault of her own. Why, you have spent such a long time running, hardly even know yourself. Ah, so you're a fugitive then, from another country, I see. Won't pry into your past then. You'd rather forget about it. I don't mind sharing my past with you, though. Even in this country knows who I am, after all, or at least they should. Now, this is quite the impressive boast. If it were to come from the lips of another, you would find it unpleasantly arrogant. You do not think, however, that this girl is trying to show off. Get the feeling instead that she is merely telling the truth. If you don't have the pleasure of knowing me, then allow me to do the honours. My father and my mother were the king and queen of this realm, and I am its princess. I've lived in this castle all my life, so I don't know much about the outside world, but I know what other countries do exist out there. I presume it is from one of these foreign countries that you come from. It's very good to meet you. I've always wanted to talk to somebody from overseas. Feels like quite the opportunity. Gil giggles at this. He smiles in response. Tell her unthinkingly that it is your pleasure, really, to meet her, or at least you mean to. You only get halfway through this remark when the full gravity of what the girl has told you sinks in. Come to a stop. Then you stare. Did she just say she was a princess? Yes, that's right. A princess. One day I'll be queen, after I've done a little bit of growing up. My ministers don't think I'm ready to run a country just yet, but I've been doing my best at my lessons. One day, I'm sure I'll be the best queen there ever was. So she really is a princess. That makes sense, you suppose, given she lives in a castle and it comes as a surprise regardless. You hadn't known, before you entered this chamber, that you were trespassing on a lady of such great renown. Why, if she willed it, she can't be executed for your carelessness. An ugly red flush creeps up your face, flush which is far more lurid than the princess's dress. As you look to your feet, bashfully you stammer out in your address that you were very sorry for intruding upon her. Oh, didn't mean that. And you hope that she can forgive you. Oh, it's alright. Think nothing of it. I don't mind, really. We all make mistakes. And anyway, you weren't to know. You said you weren't from around here. You nod your head in a silent affirmation. It isn't a complete lie. You really are not from this country. You're not from this world at all. Interesting. I really want to know the backstory of this main character a bit more. Why they were running away, who they were running away from. How wonderful. I'll look forward to picking your brain later. All my servants come from the nearby village. Tales are all the same, so are their superstitions. I could do with a breath of fresh air. The last lady's maid told me I was too courteous, but I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting a bit of adventure. Not that I've ever been afforded much of that. I've been shut up in here for so long. I hardly ever get the chance to talk to other girls my age. The last lady's maid was older than me, and so was the one before her, and the one before her. Some of the princess's fair mood seems to dissipate. As she speaks, her expression turning, by degrees, into something rather more pensive. But I haven't seen any of my old lady maids in a while, or any of the other servants for that matter. They've all disappeared. Now that is quite curious. How could a whole household full of servants simply disappear? That I don't know. The castle was full of servants once. My lady's maids, and my undermaids, and my scullery maids, and my housekeeper, and my cooks, and a large platoon of retainers. They're all gone now, though. I think my ministers must have sent them away. I don't know why they would have done that, though. They didn't explain it to me. But then again, they never explained anything to me. They still treat me like a little girl. It's so tiring. She said that her ministers sent her servants away. What of her parents, the king and queen? Would they not be the ultimate authorities in the castle's hierarchy? I get the feeling that the reason she is looking all blue is maybe because she's a ghost. Probably why nobody's in this house anymore. Why all the servants got moved away, because there's not really anyone else here to look after anymore. They would, yes, if they were still alive, but they're not. Died a long time ago. I was raised for most of my life by my servants. Oh, you answer. Then you flush. You hadn't known. That's alright, you don't need to apologize. I'm just happy that I have you now. I was getting sick and tired of only having my dolls to speak to. They aren't the best conversational partners. You can imagine so, yes? Doubt any doll, made one by a talented artisan, with an intelligent face indistinguishable from a human's, would be very good at answering back. Oh no, they aren't. They're hopeless at it, really. They're so stony-lipped. You've no idea how much of a relief it is to see. This castle is so big. Without my servants, it feels so very empty. It gets so lonely here. Hey, that's the title of the game. Now, that is an interesting turn of phrase. Catches inside your head like a burr. Have you heard it before? Maybe. Do not have much time to ponder this, however, because the princess is speaking anew, in that curiously conversational manner of hers, which does not seem particularly princessy. Maybe she learned how to speak from her servants. That would explain why consonants are so unrefined. Oh, but listen to me, yammering on again. It's a bad habit. You really must put a stop to it. You're probably tired, dear one, from your travels. Would you like to show you to your room? Yes, the princess announces, before you can say anything in reply. I think I'll do just that. Might show you a bit around the castle first, though. It's like a maze in here. I wouldn't want you to get lost. You'll be staying here for quite some time, after all. Great. As long as it's away from whoever was chasing us, I guess. Princess then hastens to take you on a tour of her home. Fortunately, she does not show all the rooms in her abode. Neither does she offer overly long descriptions as to what the few rooms she does show you are used for. She does, however, pause by the kitchens, whereas she offers you some victuals. Once the growling in your belly has been satisfied, the princess then resumes her journey. Maybe it won't be so bad here after all. We get a nice little princess, we get well fed, got a roof over our heads. I mean, what could possibly go wrong, right? Anyway, she leads you down a dark, twisting hallway, up a series of equally dark, twisting steps, till she arrives, at long last, before a door. Princess pushes the door aside summarily, thus permitting you entrance to a small, humble bedchamber. The chamber is not half so opulent as the grand bedroom in which the princess resides, with its resplendent four-poster and its richly patterned wallpaper. Its room ceiling is not as high. A singular bed sheltered against the wall is thin and narrow. The walls are an unassuming beige. The floor beneath your soles is warped of wood. There's a malodorous scent too. Hangs in the air, one of disuse and general decay. Get a feeling that nobody slept in this room for quite some time. That might explain why it feels so cold in here. Though the princess's tour of her castle has taught you anything, it is that it's cold in every room in her abode. Yeah, well, castles are renowned for not great they've always not been insulated very well. Now we are here. Final stop on our tour. This will be your room, dear one. I hope it's to your liking. Princess, despite her exhalated status, looks somewhat uneasy as she observes you, her eyes upturned like those of the loyal dogs. Is she concerned about your reaction to this room? Perhaps she is afraid that you will turn your nose up at her kindness. For Princess, she is awfully eager to please. This unexpected contrast between a princess's lofty title and her inviting attitude makes her smile. Room is rather scanty, yes, which comes to its contents, but is more than passable. There's a roof and 4 walls. Though it is cold, you fancy you will feel warmer once you slip beneath the bed sheets. The room is not quite as fancy as your dormitory at the conservatory, and neither is it so large, but it does have one glaring improvement over your previous lodgings. You will not be expected to share it with anybody else. There's only one bed in this room. This bed belongs to you. You think that the peace and quiet will do you a world of good. Tell the princess as much and she smiles. That's good. I was worried you wouldn't like it. I know it isn't much to look at, but it's one of the nicest servants' rooms we have in the castle. Most of the maids sleep beneath the roof. In this teeny tiny room, which is all cramped. There's tens of beds up there. They're so close together, there's barely any room to pass between them. I thought it was perfectly ghastly when I saw it. Last time I went up there, not that I was supposed to be up there. It was a rainy day. I couldn't go outdoors, so I was doing a bit of exploring. If the housekeeper had known, I'd have been skulking around. Don't think she would have been best pleased. Well, in any case, nobody sleeps up there anymore. The scullery maids are all gone now. Couldn't put you up there though, in the attic. All those empty beds. Didn't think it'd be very cheery. Which a scullery maid, or my lady's maid. This means you deserve good lodgings. It'd be an insult to offer you any less than this. Now it's getting late. Listen, you'll have to forgive me for rabbiting on, but it is something I tend to do. It's a bad habit, one that's unbecoming for a lady. Housekeeper's warned me enough times. Reassure the princess on the contrary, smiling as you do. You don't mind if she talks too much. That's better than not talking at all. Affable nature makes it easy to spend time with her. Manners be damned. You were always scolded too, back in the conservatory, for your behaviour. Know full well how aggravating it can be to be upbraided, not for any particular misdemeanour, but for being yourself. Well, I'm glad you understand, Princess answers with a giggle. I really should be off though. It's bad manners to keep you, especially when you look so sleepy. Get some rest. We can talk more tomorrow. Don't mind my ceaseless prattle. I'm glad you seem to appreciate it, at least. Though I'm sure you'll get tired of it eventually. All my old maids did. Princess departs, and in her absence, take a seat upon the bed. Your new bed. Cannot help but think this is all happening very quickly. Does not seem like a very long ago that you were still in the forest, running for your life amongst the tall, imposing trees, their gnarled and grasping branches. Forest might as well be a distant memory now, though. You're indoors, inside a castle no less. You have been given a room in which to sleep, clothes that you might wear. Seems premature still to declare that you are out of the woods, in a metaphorical sense, I mean, but things could certainly be worse. You force yourself to stand, on legs which feel too weary to support you, change into the nightclothes hanging in the wardrobe. My clothes do not fit you properly, but you are too tired to care about that. Too tired to care about much of anything. Retreat to the bed and slide underneath the sheets. Then let your eyelids fall shut. You exhale. And, lulled by the breeze which blows outdoors, you fall asleep. You're so very tired. Sleep is a deep, dark one. Darker even than the furthest abyss of the nighttime. Like the nighttime sky, however, which shimmers with stars, sleep is not devoid of those prismatic fragments your humans call dreams. Though in this case, rather think your nocturnal imaginings are worth rather more than that. They are not dreams, are they, to which your slumbering mind is subjected? Know that they are not. Otherwise, your body would not be so very cold. Not so clammy. Images that flicker beneath your closed eyelids, like the ghostly image of the whatever that word is, were not conjured from within your mind. They were instead taken from your memories. Not merely dreaming, you are remembering. Remember the girls who slept in your dormitory, how they always hastened to use the shower first, so you were last for breakfast. Remember how when you finally did arrive at the dining hall, most desirable morsels had already been snaffled up by the girls who got there earlier. You struggled too to find a seat, but you finally did get your hands on some food, because nobody ever wanted to sit with you. Other girls all acted like you were a leper, save for when they wanted favors. Never asked for these favors, mind, for why would they? To them, your father's prestige did not matter. They were all wealthy ladies too, many of them wealthier than you. When everybody has the airs and graces of a princess, how is anybody supposed to stand out? I stood out at least in your class. Perhaps because you were one of the smallest, the frailest, and the sickliest. You always came down with colds in the winter. Poor health did not stop the other girls from treating you as a servant, though. And they remembered that you existed, of course. It was your London life, as you dwelt within the stone walls of the conservatory, carry school bags across the field like a pack mule. Then, come the evenings, a girl in your dormitory had you sewing on missing buttons, finding out the creases and wrinkles in their uniforms. There was an odd job that needed performing, you would always be asked. But these girls did not ask you. That would have been too civilized. They ordered you instead, and as they ordered you, they laughed at you. Laughed and laughed and laughed. Laughter hurt, but it hurt considerably less when the kicks did, and the slaps, and the pinches. Once, during an embroidery lesson, my classmates had an accident with their sewing scissors. Stumbled, or at least pretended to, and before you knew it, the silvery blade of those scissors were embedded in your left palm. This happened quite some time ago, when you were even littler than you are now, but you can still remember it. It hurt a lot. The scissors were sharp, and they foredated your skin, not all the way down to the bone, but enough to bleed. One bled bright red, like strawberry jam, all over your embroidery. Then, when your professor saw it, she shrieked. Face turned as pale as way, and she looked, for a few moments, as though she might faint, though you were the one who was in pain. Professor looked at your face. He could not bear to look at your hand. He demanded to know why you could not have been more careful. Her tone had been an accusatory one. It was as if you had stabbed yourself in the hand with the scissors to goad her. Pain in your hand hurt, but the guilt of your persecutors hurt all the more. Never were punished for that. Perhaps your professor did not care enough to punish them. How she, like everybody else, thought it was all your fault. The wound, all said and done, was not too deep. It did not even need any stitches. It healed well enough in time, on its own. It left a scar, a white, raised thing, like a crescent moon. You still have that scar. You don't know how much blood you lost. It seemed like a lot back in the classroom. You smell it in the air, sharp as iron. Could not have been much, evidently. It wound up. If your wound had been more serious, perhaps your professor might have cared. Perhaps your classmates, too, would have felt more modicum of guilt over what they did. This seems very unlikely. You know that your blood meant nothing to your classmates. Why should it? If it meant next to nothing, and the blood in your veins was such a thing was possible, you're more inconsequential. Man, that's fucking rough. Yeah. Bullies and teachers who... Yeah, just bullies in general, just fucking hate them. And it makes it even worse when your adults in your life that are supposed to care, fucking don't. Like, they're supposed to do something, but yeah, nah. Got more important things to do. You feel disoriented when you are awake, at long last, with the rising of the sun. Do not remember what you dreamt, but you do not think that your dreams were of a particularly pleasant nature. It's probably for the best that you forget about it. They were, heart would not be hammering, so... Yeah, if your mind doesn't remember, your heart does. You'll at ease you glance around. Lying in a narrow bed in an unremarkable room, all with dull beige walls and warped wooden floor. Where exactly are you? Does not look like your dormitory in the conservatory, not unless it has shrunk threefold overnight. Your brow furrows as you attempt to recall the events of the night prior, till, with a gasp, it all clicks into place. Remember now, you're running through the woods, trying to escape from... You shudder. Do you not want to think of what you're trying to escape from? Okay, I guess we're not going to find that out anytime soon. Soon that you must have given your hunter the slip, though, because you're still in one piece. Wake and alert enough to face the dawning of a new morning. Still have all your limbs, and your facial features appear to be in the correct configuration. Okay, that's a little concerning. That's more than enough to be getting along with. Look at the foot of your bed, then blink, amused at your discovery. You see, upon the sheets, a garment. 2 garments, actually, were black and white, folded into a neat white square. What could that be? A maid's outfit? If so, it would not be too surprising. You can now recall your visit with the princess the night prior, and her assertions that you must be a lady's maid. Well, if that is the role she wants to assume, you have no qualms with it. It is far preferable to the other role you played last night, that of a startled quarry running from its pursuer. You press your fingers against the humble maid's attire. It was surprisingly soft to the touch, not coarse like you expected. His clothes are rather fine. Did the princess put them there? If so, there is all the more reason to wear them. You are not churlish enough to deny her hospitality. You rise from your new bed and undress yourself, buttoning the front of your plain, white nightgown sitting aside. Task accomplished, you then clad yourself in your new attire, black, white, and eminently sensible. Feel very far away from the girl that you once were. Face might be the same as always, but something within you has changed. You're no longer a student, nor as long as you mean to reside within the princess's castle. You would rather... or you would far rather be his servant. Sure of your newfound identity, you retreat from your chambers, make your way to your mistress's bedroom. The castle is a large one with many, many rooms, many hallways to connect them. For a brief while you find yourself horrendously lost. Cannot remember where the princess's bedroom is. Beginning to feel rather disoriented when, to your relief, your eyes snag upon a stairwell, which looks rather familiar. Could this be the way? You ascend these steps, footfalls cushioned by the plush carpet which lines them. Find your way down the very same hall you traversed the night prior. Your memory does not fail you, then the princess's bedroom ought to be... Yes, here it is. Rap upon the door, but receive nothing in the way of response. Is the princess still abed? You wonder briefly whether you wouldn't wait until she is risen of her own accord. But no, the sun is high in the sky and would seem ashamed to let the princess sleep through the day. You ought instead to rouse her. Seems like a sort of duty a lady's maid should attempt to do. You enter the princess's bedroom and glance about. The room looks much the same as you remember it from the night prior, though the ceiling seems even higher when viewed in the morning's light. You can see, now that there are fewer shadows in the impede your view, how very opulent your young mistress's abode is. Her armour is large and imposing, as is the grate in which you will be expected to keep a fire lit during the night. The princess herself, meanwhile, is curled up on her side beneath the sheets, looking rather less grandiose with a tattered wood suggest. She is attired in a nightgown adorned with frills, and her hair is spilt across her pillow like spilled gold. In her slender arms, meanwhile, held to her chest, is a doll, the very same one she was accosting last night. I suppose this doll must be a favourite. Ideally, you wonder about what the doll's name is, though you do not suppose it matters all that much. It's time to wake up your mistress. Call out to the princess, but she is largely unresponsive. Her eyelashes are still so tightly shut, and her lips pursed in slumber. Purse your lips too and sigh. Well, nobody ever said your job would be easy. Once again, you call to the princess. This time she replies. Response is not a favourable one, however. She sighs, and she turns away from you, door clutched to her chest. Just give me a little longer. Princess sounds so enfeebled, but you do not take pity on her. If you learn anything from the conservatory, save for knowledge pertaining to the respiratory tracts of fish, is that one must be cruel to be kind. We do not think this adage was practiced with any great success in the conservatory, but perhaps it will have more of an impact upon the princess. You tell her once again to wake up, more sternly this time. You will not let her sleep, for she has slept long enough already. It is very slovenly, really, to still be in bed at such an hour. I mean, you weren't long off from doing that yourself. Oh, defeated the princess sighs. Alright, I can see that I can't twist you around my little finger. I'm up, you don't need to nag me. Once you have roused the princess from her bed, and you have put her doll to one side, set up her toiletry. Aid the princess in brushing her hairs, a chore to which she submits willingly, like a cat might allow its fur to be brushed. Well, I mean, it depends on the cat. Some of them absolutely love to be brushed. We had one cat, Every time he brought the brush, like, he'd meow at us if we ever stopped brushing him. Like, he loved the brush. Like, others will just growl and swipe at you if you come anywhere near them with the brush. But yeah. Anyway, you allow yourself to ponder as you run the bristles of the princess's brush through her hair. How wonderfully soft it feels against your skin. But a curious query from the princess, "Are you alright, dear one?" brings you back to your senses. You were rather lost in your thoughts there. Look lively now. You wouldn't want the princess to catch wind of your salacious thoughts, would you? You thought that you had learnt your lesson about that already. Suitably chastened, you finished with the princess's hair, then set the brush aside. Now that the princess's tresses have been taken care of, you must start on her attire. The princess remains seated upon the edge of her bed, looking up at your askance. She does not ask you to avert your eyes, nor does she make any motion of divesting herself of a nightgown. It really does seem as though she expects you to undertake this task on your own. Is that alright? You asked the princess as much. You would not wish to impinge upon her modesty, but she only laughs. Yes, that's alright. It's what you're supposed to do if you ought to be my lady's maid. I'm used to being dressed and undressed. I'm not a bit squeamish about it. She might not be squeamish about it, but you are. You've never seen a naked woman before except yourself. Even then, however, you have always dressed and undressed furtively, not wanting to examine your body for longer than is strictly necessary. You never much liked the way you looked. You make a few more mumbled objections, but the princess sweeps them to one side easily. It's alright, I might be a princess, but we both people underneath all of our clothes. I doubt we look much different. You are not sure about that. You have not yet seen the princess unadorned, but you already know to look at her face that you are different. She is much, much prettier than you are. But she is waiting, and you do not wish to keep her any longer. Steady your nerves. Then you reach out with trembling hands. You begin to undo the buttons which run down the front of the princess's nightgown. Work as quickly as you are able, which, given how badly your hands are shaking, is not very. Fumble with a couple of buttons, flinching as you do so. The princess, however, seems blissfully unaware of what it is exactly you are doing or not doing, for your fingers have begun to seize up with the front of her nightgown. She's not even looking at you. Instead, her gaze is directed beyond your shoulder to the windowsill and the sky beyond it. It isn't particularly sunny, but I don't think it's too cold outside. Going for a walk might not be a bad idea. What do you think, dear one? I think that you would like to finish undressing the princess as soon as possible, so you can make some progress on dressing her again. The sight of all this exposed skin is bad for your heart. Fortunately, you are able to make quick work of the princess's nightgown despite your initial mishaps, spurred on perhaps by your anxiety. Bid the princess to stand, which she does, and neatly she steps out of her nightgown, motions once again as graceful and as fluid as a dancer's. This task completed, you search hurriedly for the princess's red dress. Where is it? Cannot find it. Sweat begins to prickle on the back of your neck. Palms, meanwhile, feel uncomfortably clammy. Nose pass awkwardly and uneasily as you search. Princess standing there all the while, naked as the day she was born. Why did you not find a dress before you stripped her night one? What a fool you are. Princess, knowing your panic, giggles and says, "Are you looking for my dress?" Yes, you reply, your face flushed. That is what you are doing. I thought so. I did wonder, before you started undressing me, why you did not ask where it was. Maybe it slipped your mind. It has slipped your mind, yes, to your shame. You're too busy trying not to fixate upon the princess's bare skin to think about how best to conceal it. Dresses in my, yeah, whatever that is, princesses, glancing over the aforementioned piece of furniture. The armoire of hers is an intricately carved wooden structure, large enough for, so you estimate, to fit inside enough dresses to entire whole ballrooms worth of princesses. I like to wear the red one. It's my favorite. Would you be a dear and fetch it for me? I didn't want to rush you, but it's rather cold in here, especially when I'm naked. Raised a good point. Turn away from the princess and make your way to her armoire. We'll say you open its wooden doors, but peruse the clothes hanging within. It is just as you expected. Inside the wardrobe lies numerous dresses, all and finely sewn and decorated with no shortage of ribbons, lace, and iridescent pearls. You find the princess's red dress soon enough, and hurry to her side. With your spoils in hand, you hurry to dress her, examining once again the princess's pale skin, beneath layers upon layers of red velvet. She is easy to look at now, you think, with the skin concealed. That might be the most nerve-wracking task you have ever had to accomplish, even more so than your perilous escape through the foggy forest. Why, it seems a small miracle you can remember how to breathe. That's much better. Thank you, dear one, for your help. You have not been here for a full day, but I already wonder what I'd do without you. Surely you shouldn't, the princess, that you did nothing, really. Nothing beyond your job. You're not doing anything incredible. And in any case, being complimented by somebody so pretty is embarrassing. Well, don't be like that. I want to compliment you. Why shouldn't I? You've been so helpful. It'd be rude not to, in any way. I think you're very pretty too. Oh my. Face flushes from this more deeply than ever before. You ought to count yourself lucky, really. What with all this excessive blushing, and the princess does not seem to possess any vampiristic tendencies. You're making yourself quite the easy target. She isn't a vampire, right? Now, the princess declares, why don't we go for a walk? Nice enough day. I seem very bored of being cooped up inside. Can't think of any particular objections to raise to this remark. You think that the princess might have a point. The castle, though expensive, is somewhat stifling. Walls are so very thick, they put you in mind of a crypt. With your acquaintances assured, the princess quits her chamber, her posture elegant and her thoughts unhurried. She needed not to walk as she navigated her way through the seemingly endless hallways of her home, but to float like a cloud. Maybe she is a ghost. Or maybe a ghost vampire? The hem of her dress switches around her legs, and her hair shifts like a shroud. Castle's courtyard, meanwhile, is sadly lacking in comparison to the princess's beauty. The courtyard is fenced in by its castle walls, which look in the dark midday light toward an imposing, faceless soldier standing sentinel. Though the sun is out, it's not particularly bright, and neither is it particularly warm. The courtyard itself, meanwhile, is in a state of disarray. Flower beds are in shambles, all overgrown with weeds. It's all rather depressing. Princess's castle might be grand in scale, but in the courtyard, itself is simple, hemmed in to a claustrophobic degree, like a coffin. Princess, however, seems not to share your dolorous mood. She instead looks elated by newfound surroundings, smile unwavering. She gambols about like a lamb, flitting hither and thither as she remains the weed-infested flower beds. Her frolicking comes to a cease, however, by a bush. One is full of bright red roses. Oh, how very pretty! Do you not think they're gorgeous, dear one? Flowers are not too disappointing, you suppose. Make up for a fine spectacle. In fact, what can splash of colour when contrasted with the dull and the drabness which permeates the rest of the courtyard. Though the other flowers in their bed are wilted with other things, it is not so for these roses. They are a rich bright red, just like blood. The heads so full they seem almost to droop beneath the weight of their own engorged petals. They're very pretty, in a sense. There's something kind of selling about them too. Something that is almost unseen. How did those roses become so very red? What has been sustaining them? Could it be possibly that these roses have been draining life from the other flowers, which are struggling to grow within the garden? It's a fanciful thought, but... oh, they are simply divine. Looking at these roses always lifts my spirits. They really are my most favourite flowers. I certainly must pick one of them. Perhaps I can use them to decorate my bedroom. It could use a bit of colour. Princess reaches out so as to pluck one of the roses free from its resting place amongst its brethren. Watch her breath beaded, anxious this gesture might result in profaned flesh and bright red blood. But the princess is not as clumsy as you fear. Of course she is not. Who did you think she was? You? Rather than worrying about other people, you would be better served if you worried more about yourself. Princess holds her newly pilfered rose to her nose and inhales. Eyelids falling shut as the flower's sweet scent washes over her. A few moments of silence passes. Then the princess begins to toy with the petals, which adorn the flower's crown. Now, let me see. I wonder what fate has in store for me. She loves me? Princess plucks a petal from the flower's overburdened head. She loves me not. Princess continues with this childish incantation, all the while stripping her rose slowly and methodically of its petals. Petals flutter about the princess like bloody snow. Princess's voice, meanwhile, echoes throughout the courtyard, even more melodic than the strains of pianola. She loves me not. She loves me not. Princess's fingers hover over the final petal, which crowns her nearly denuded flower. Then, with a triumphant smile, she declares, "She loves me, I knew it." Was the princess amused by girlish good cheer? The little mantra she had been reciting is one that you are familiar with. Girls at the conservatory also used to engage in this little game. Younger ones, at least, believed that a fairy tale prince would whisk them away. You might have participated in this game yourself, when you were a child yourself, but you never pinned your hopes and dreams on a handsome prince. Interest in princes had always been minimal. When it came to fair princesses, though, well, it was a different matter altogether, isn't it? Pleasantly asked the princess whose love it is he wishes to court, query which makes the princess giggle. Oh dear one, what else would I be thinking of? Naturally, I was thinking of you. Naturally? She says it so easily, though you ought to suspect it as much, and indeed part of you did. Want to believe, yet part of you was afraid to. Did not want to be arrogant enough to assume that the princess might care for your affections. Begin to blush. Your cheeks are almost as red as the roses, while the princess laughs. She laughs and laughs and laughs, her voice clear and sweet like a nightingale's song, though you are the funniest thing she has ever seen. You never like being laughed at when you dwell within the walls of the conservatory, but it's different with her. Wait a minute. You have not known her for all that long, but you're very entranced by her, ensnared. She has you wrapped around her little finger. Oh my! Princess's laughter tapers off into a series of giggles as, smiling, she wipes her eyes with the back of her hand. It was quite the amusing diversion, but I just had an idea. Look at the princess curiously. What idea? You can't tell? Can I begin to guess? I just thought that all this washing must be boring you. Princess says, tossing the roses strokes the stem carelessly to the ground. Should give it a try. Please do. Be fun. Princess retrieves a second red rose from the bushes, deftly snapping it between her fingers and offers it to you. I want to see what fate it has in store for you too. Smile at the princess, touched by your enthusiasm. Indulging in childish games like this might not be the best use of your time, but the princess looks so determined you would not wish to hurt her. What could be the harm, really, in consenting? The only real casualty of this game will be one singular rose. The rose that the princess is holding up towards you. Reach out, meaning to accept the princess's offering, but... oh no! Your clumsy and you seize the stem of the rose with a touch too much strong. Head of the rose might be pretty, but there is more to a rose than its bright red flowers. Roses have thorns too, fact you are now being painfully reminded of. Pain flows through your fingers and you gasp. Take a step back, the hem of your skirt swishing around your ankles. Fingers in its stinging, so your eyes. Ought to have been more careful. Why have you been so stupid? Poor dear, you're bleeding, Princess exclaims alarmed. Then she frowns. This is all my fault. If I did not suggest this silly game, this never would have happened. Please, let me take care of you. And how is she going to do that? First she means to take a handkerchief from her pocket, which she might staunch your wound. Princesses tend to carry handkerchiefs around with them, don't they? Silken ones? How else would they have brave knights token of their gratitude? Once of the aforementioned knights have successfully slain dragons. Princesses can hardly dispense kisses as favours, simply not done. That is what you always thought, but... please, hold still. This might sting a little bit. Princess is anything but ordinary. Rather than take a handkerchief out of her pocket, she instead encloses her white, slender fingers around your hand. Carefully, as though she is handling a precious object, raises your hand, her eyes fixed, all the while on the bead of startlingly crimson blood, which are oozing, whatever that word is, from your wound. Licks her lower lip. Oh god, she is a vampire, isn't she? Uh-oh. Then she dips her head. She parts her mouth with a soft sigh which borders on the nervousness, sinuous. She slips her injured digit between her teeth. Oh, we actually get our first look at our main character here. It's actually quite pretty. and her hair is always as red as the bruises. So much for princesses not dispensing kisses as token of appreciation. This might not be a conventional kiss, but feels intimate regardless, almost startlingly so. The princess's lips were as red as any rose, closed around your index finger. Still feel the warmth of the princess's mouth about your skin, and the wetness of it. Sensation makes your whole body quake. Did not expect this. Tremulously, in a voice which wavers, he asks the princess what it is she's doing. Oh, the princess glances up at you, mouth still enclosed around your finger. Didn't I tell you? I'm trying to stop the bleeding. Yes, you gathered it much, but is there a problem? I'm not making you uncomfortable, am I? It's not, she say. Well, she is making you uncomfortable. She is making you uncomfortable per se, but this is rather awkward. Did not expect it, that is all. And is she not worried that this is unhygienic? Unhygienic? Princess blinks. She is the very picture of innocence, which is funny, really, given your finger is still nestled against her tongue. I don't know what you mean by that exactly. I've heard that this is the best way to take care of cuts. A nursemaid used to do this for me when I was a child. It's what you're supposed to do. And you ask, your voice catching in your throat, did a nursemaid keep staunching her wounds with her mouth when she grew older? Well, no, but my nursemaid was dismissed when I was 8 years old. That's the normal way of things. I made the lady's maid to look after me then. How very interesting. Did they ever clean her wounds like this? No, Princess smiles, smiling mischievous, because I'm not clumsy enough to cut myself, silly. More and more I think about it, the more she is like some supernatural creature. Now that was quite the sharp retort. You did not expect it. Face turns even redder, if such a thing is possible, though this might perhaps be to your benefit. With some luck, all your blood will flow to your face, rather than to your fingers, and your bleeding will stop. Has it stopped? Injury was not a deep one. There should be no need for the princess to keep on suckling it, but she still is. You're not accustomed to intimacy of this nature. It's making your heart flutter. The princess knew what her mouth was doing to you. You're sure she would not be so very familiar. Or she'd use that tongue for something else. I'm sure my finger isn't the only thing getting wet. You feel quietly, crushingly confident that she would scorn you for all your feelings, deem them unnatural. Yeah, well, the only thing unnatural is her at the moment, so would not be the first time. At this point, you should be used to rejection. It still stings, though. It stings much, much more than any thorn on any rose could. Days pass, following your misadventures in the rose garden in a relaxed, unhurried sort of manner. A mad dash through the forest is beginning to feel like a distant memory, so much so you can scarcely recall the raw and naked fear you once felt as you fled for your life. There's no running to be had while you're working for the princess. You would have nowhere else to run, and, in any event, there was no longer any reason to run. Shadows which once tormented you have at long last begun to recede. You can scarcely recall, as you lay down in your bed, petty cruelties you were subjected to by your classmates at the conservatory. They no longer matter. Attention is focused not upon yourself, but upon the princess. More time you expend with her, more you come to care for her. You have become quite bestowed with her, but you have yet to realize it. Well, I never. How very ignorant can one girl be of her own feelings? Princess is not half so ignorant as you are, though. despite having spent her whole life within the palace's walls. Whatever her own feelings are unbeknownst to her, and during one stormy night, she chooses to make them known to you. You're in the princess's chambers later, perhaps than you ought to be. Later than is strictly appropriate. It's dark outside, there is little save the light of the moon to alleviate it. That, and the fire which crackles in the grate. You've only just finished stoking the fire, and now you rise. Look to the princess, who is lying in a bed, and you bid her a good night, as she have many nights past. With a neat courtesy you turn to leave, but the princess's plaintive voice gives you pause. Me, dear one, do not go, not just yet. Perplexed, you pause, then look back at the princess. But she's smiling, her expression is unusually wan. Is she right? Well, I'm sure I'll be fine. It's just nights like this, you know, make me feel a little out of sorts. Like what? He asked. What does she mean by that? I think that it's very cold, very dark. It's very windy besides. I'm afraid that there'll be a storm later. It was awfully cloudy earlier, when we went out for a walk. Princess is not mistaken about that. The sky, when the pair of you promenaded the gardens earlier, was grey and steely, the wind blindingly cold. Hear the wind rattling mournfully against the panes in the princess's bedchamber. The princess's castle is built of stone. It's well fortified, but even with the fire it is rather cold. You don't like to think of how many chillier by comparison it will be in your humble bedchamber, which is not fortunate enough to have its own fireplace. It might sound childish, but I've always found it hard to sleep on stormy nights like this. Make me feel uncomfortable. Look at the princess with no small degree of sympathy. No longer clad in a bright red dress, she looks oddly, uncommonly vulnerable. Will she really be alright? Or alone in an oversized bed, in a high-ceilinged bedchamber? No, it is silly of you to contemplate such a query. Why would she not be alright? There's nobody in the castle to hurt her, but yet you fret for her. As a lady's maid, it is your job to fret for her. You would never want your mistress to feel unhappy. Ask the princess what it is she would have you do. Princess perks up at this. Pleased, perhaps, that you were taking the initiative. I wouldn't like to take up too much of your time, but it's so very late. But would you mind sitting with me a little while longer and reading to me? Provided that you can, of course. This is a fair enough question, but you pride bristles regardless. Hastily you reassure the princess that yes, of course you could read. You were a poor student in many aspects of the conservatory, but you had something of a gift when it came to literacy arts. Reading books is all you have ever been good at. Oh, I see. Suppose I should have known. So incredible. Sometimes wonder if there's anything you can't do. Princess's high praises make you flush, awkwardly. Look away. Being able to read, you reassure her. It's not such a great feat. Perhaps it isn't when you hail from, but it is here. Very few of my old servants could read, and they certainly couldn't read the books that I like. This piques your interest. Intrigued, you ask the princess what books exactly she likes. Well, I'm glad you asked. Fond of fairy tales, you see. Old ones from centuries past. I have a collection of them here, Princess says, indicating a book on her bedside table. thick as a mortuary slab. Book is old though, and the bindings are weak. Pages brittle with the writing woefully old-fashioned. I didn't trust any of my past servants with that book. I think you would do a good job breathing life into the old stories. Would you mind reading to me for just a brief while? Please, dear one. Oh, please. Princess's request seems a simple one. Express it sweetly. So much so you have no reason to refuse her. This isn't going to become like Inkheart or something, and all the stuff is then for the pages are brought to life. Imagine trying to do that with like a dark magic book or something. I mean, that is well, I mean, you can do that with some of it, with incantations or whatever. Anyway, you take a seat beside the princess, upon a luxurious bed, which sinks beneath your weight. Then you retrieve the leather-bound book, which is resting upon a bedside table, and spread it open. Joy will be spreading something open later. The pages of the book are very brittle, like the princess said, and the bindings of the book are loose. You feel in the heft of the book's manifold pages where the age is concealed within it. How old is this book? Perhaps it is as old as the castle in which it resides. It's with a quiet voice, hesitant at first, they begin to read to the princess, a tale of a courtly love which accumulates in a lavish wedding ceremony. All the while, as you read, the princess listens to you, enraptured, hanging all sort of scenes upon your every word. Once you reach the final phrase, but embossed upon the pages of this aged tome, and lived happily ever after. Princess sighs as though this tale has touched her very soul. Would that there be a handsome prince to marry me? She says somberly. Or better yet, a beautiful princess. At this point, I think you would even settle for lowliest gallery maid. You blush at this idle remark and mumble, softly, that this would not be proper. Storm Messiah is squalling. You have never been one to raise your voice. Do you not expect, therefore, that the princess will overhear you? But she does. She observes you, the head resting against her pillows, and says, "And what would be the problem with that, As my maid, shouldn't my happiness come before any silly ideas of propriety?" "Well, of course," you reply. "But for the princess to marry a scullery maid?" "You're still hung up on that?" The princess titters. "Don't pay it too much heed. I was just talking to myself." As if anything that would ever happen when there is no priest around who would officiate it. I think there is a greater issues with the princess's plan than the lack of a priest, though she does present a good point. The castle is an empty one. Even if the princess were to find somebody she loves, there'd be nobody to make such a wedding official. I cannot help but feel like you have avoided a good deal of nuisance. But by the same token, do you not feel a touch of disappointment? Well, never mind. That was a nice story, the princess says. I'm not sleepy yet. It's still storming outside. Would you read me one more? You would not mind, you reply, but it's getting late. You really ought to return to your own chamber. I know, but you can find it in your heart to read one more story to me. Just one? You can choose a short one. I won't complain. You have some doubts about that, but as before, you cannot resist the princess's demands. It is not, you think, because she is a princess, though that is, of course, a part of it, but because she is, well, radiant. You would not, you think, as you turn to the nearest story recounted in this aged compendium, want to upset her. Rather cut out your own tongue. You read another story to the princess, which is a familiar vein to the last, possible adventurous accumulating. As the close in a happy marriage. Tale delights the princess just as much as the tale you read prior. He begs for another, then another. One bedroom story becomes 5, and even then, when the candles would flicker to the princess's bedside as, close to guttering out, the princess is not satisfied. Like a gasping green child, she has never heard of moderation. When she wants something, she seeks to glut herself with it. Her only request now more. She wants to less commonly, perhaps her inability to adhere to the word no would be seen as a character defect. The princess is very comely, however, and so when she makes her next request, you almost agree offhand, without considering the ramifications. I think I'm going to sleep now, but the storm is still raging. I feel lonely on my own, in this big, empty bed, so... I know, Princess's eyes light up the night sky in a thunderstorm. Why don't you sleep with me? Stare at the princess, eyes wide as goose eggs. Slowly you blink, then just as slowly you bid her to repeat herself. Didn't you hear me? Princess giggles. Though you've been so busy cleaning up after me, you neglected to clean out your own ears. I said, dear one, would you like to sleep with me? If that is the question she truly needs to ask, then it is easy enough to answer. Of course you'd like to sleep with her. It'd be an honor. Would it really be alright for you to accept such an invitation? Yeah, it must be a gross breach of protocol, surely, for a lowly domestic such as yourself to share a bed with a princess. I mean, there isn't really anyone else here to witness it, or to say otherwise, so... Sit upon the princess's bedside, fretting while she observes with wide, beseeching eyes. She is waiting. Well, what's the matter, dear one? Why do you tarry so? Could it be... Princess's lower lips begin to tremble. Don't you want to lie with me after all? Sorrow present to the princess's voice, and in her face, makes you feel awfully guilty. Hurriedly you console her. Tell her in no uncertain terms that if she truly wishes to partake in your company, then you have no qualms with it. Why would you? Well then, don't just stand there dilly-dallying, silly. Come and join me, come. And that is what you do. After returning briefly to your own chamber to change into your nightgown. Once dressed, you have no time returning to your impetuous princess's side. She is already lying in a glorious four-posted bed, waiting your return as though you are a knight-errant gone away to slay some wicked dragon. Princess giggles when she sees you. In your haste to change, you had made a hash of the buttons. She bids you to come closer. Let me fix that for you, silly. I know, you say. I couldn't possibly let you do that. I am but a servant after all. Should it not be your job to dress her? Maybe so, the princess says. I don't mind a bit of role reversal. Makes things more fun. Try a few more refutations, but in vain. Princess similarly discards all of them. Quite at the princess's mercy. I am more stubborn than you are. You capitulate to her demands. Let the princess unbutton the front of your nightdress, then rebutton them, so the fabric of your plain gown is drawn shut. Satisfied with her handiwork, she has very elegant hands. The princess draws back and past the mattress beside her. Now, come in. It must be horribly cold out there, but the bedsheets are warm. Queerly, the princess smiles. And so am I. Feel warm yourself as you slide into the bed beside the princess. Faces as red as the gown the princess so often wears, as red as the roses in the castle's grounds. All the while, your heart is fluttering. Does the princess know what an effect she is having on you? Surely she must. How could any woman be so blind? There, the princess exclaims, when her body is lying beside her. That's much better. Do you feel cozy now, dear one? You swallow and with a shaky voice you reassure her. Yes, you are cozy. You are quite cozy indeed. Very good. The storm might be raging outdoors, but it can't get us here. I know when I'm with you, I'll be safe. It's strange, but... Princess reaches out, takes your hand in hers, twining your fingers together like a chain. When I'm with you, I feel so very light. It's as though nothing in the world can hurt me. You make me feel safe, so I want to make you feel safe too. I'll take very, very good care of you, I promise. Turn and smile with one of your own, touched by her thoughtfulness, though something about her promise does make you wonder. Should it not be your job to look after her as a domestic? In a way, the princess replies after a pause, but you've been taking good care of me already. Now I need to return the favor. As a princess, I'm supposed to look after my vassals. It's all part of the job description. You were unaware that being a princess came with a job description. You thought the profession came with far fewer written responsibilities, far fewer forms to sign them, say, becoming a doctor, or astrophysicist, or mathematics professor. Tell the princess this sleepily and she laughs. You do say some funny things, dear one. Think you must be tired. Rest your head. You've been working so hard. I think you deserve it. Yes, you think only half conscious. I think you deserve it too. You've been working hard for a long time. You've been running for even longer. But now, at long last, I feel like you can let your fears go. Your eyelids begin to droop. Body beleaguered by a sudden, all-consuming fatigue. And in the quiet, on the stair of a sort of way, consciousness is conveyed to Morpheus' kingdom. Sleep is a deep one, despite the storm which rages outdoors. Wind is howling like a couple of wild cats, both locked in a vicious and bloodthirsty bout to the death. But you do not hear it. Swallowed by the warm blankets about you, soothed by the princess's presence, you are immune from all the ills of the world. When you are with the princess, you feel safe, secure, and, yes, you even feel loved. It's a pity, then, that these feelings do not last for a very long time. Oh, great, here we go. Notice something is wrong. Catastrophically so. The moment you open your eyes. Well, fuck. Here we go. Thoughts are hopelessly jumbled, but you assumed that when you fell asleep, it was in a bed. Nice, warm bed, no less. Beneath soft, comfortable sheets. You're not lying in a bed right now, though. You are not, in fact, lying at all. This is not the situation I was hoping I'd ever be in, but, well. We're standing instead against the cold, hard wall made of stone. Well, I think we found out where all the servants went to. Careful, your back is pressed against the wall so intimately you can feel this icy chill seeping through the fabric of your nightgown. The feet, which are bare, are similarly pressed against cold, unfeeling stone. You feel so frigid you cannot help but tremble. You're trembling so much, you can feel your teeth chattering together. Sound like castanets. Sound is almost jaunty as it echoes through to your cell. That is indeed where you are. Princess's bedchamber, wherein you fell asleep, is a thing now of the past. You are standing instead, you realize, with a sharp start, in the cell of some great underground dungeon. You swallow. When you do, you can taste something bitter on your tongue. Your stomach is beginning to churn with anxiety. Yeah, I don't like the breathing in my ears. I feel like you're going to be sick. feeling which wells up inside you to a staggering degree as you catch notice of the stench. You're not, you realize, the only one in the dungeon. I mean, you're the only one that is actually alive, but there are others here, others attired in the simple black and white outfits, servants which look much like the dress that you once wore. Others who are with you, however, in the cement cell, manacled to the walls, are in no fit state to speak to you, nor to tell you of their plights. They are all on feeling, on stealing, on breathing. They are all dead. You cannot approach these servants to check their pulses, for you yourself are sustained. If you could, there would be no point. And no way any human could survive the wounds which have been inflicted upon these sad and slumped bodies. And I mean, they're all skeletons, so they don't really have a heart to have a heartbeat, so. Over there you see a woman slumped in front of her, once wide apron stained with blackish blood. There's a gaping wound in her stomach, one through which her entrails have half escaped, with some sort of begrudgingly goop which might have been pale pink. Oh, okay, so there are actual still human remains left. We just can't see it, which is probably for the best. There's another woman slumped from side the first, of a smaller stature. She's skinnier. Maybe she's not a woman after all, but an adolescent like yourself. She might even be younger. Girl's age, or lack of, did not preclude her attacker from inflicting upon her horrors, alas, for her body is even more mutilated than the first. Her body is pricked with even more wheels, and her face has been half smashed in. Only one eye remains, staring fixedly at the wall opposite her. The ruined remains of what was once her skull. Over there you see a woman who is missing both her arms and her lower jaw, over there. You see another who is missing her entire lower half. Where have her legs gone? You have no idea. Injuries inflicted upon these bodies are ghastly, but their advanced decay is enough to turn your stomach. You know not how long these carcasses have been laying down here, but they have begun to putrefy. You fear a similar fate might befall you. Should you stay here? Need to escape. Hopefully you struggle against the manacles which bind you, but alas, it is no use. You cannot free yourself from the walls. Restraints are much too strong. You are much too weak. Panic rises in your throat, cold and icy. Terror seizes your heart. It is too glacial. It is obvious that escape is impossible, but still you squirm and writhe like a rat caught in a firestorm. There is a little point, however, to your struggles. Succeeded in nothing, as you attempt to free yourself, say, making these steel manacles dig into your bruised wrist more sharply than ever. You gasp. That hurts. Well, you ought to have known that wouldn't work. Very definition of sanity is, performing the same actions over and over again, hoping for a different response. In that sense, perhaps one could argue optimism is not very different from insanity. Now, that is an interesting point to consider. Would you not agree? No, evidently not. You're still trying to escape, you foolish girl. Just that will do you any good. Congress rallying of your steely restraints is rather starting to get on my nerves. Making enough noise to raise the dead down here, in a dark, dingy cell. All your screaming is hardly helping matters. Wish that you could cease this infernal racket, but no, you will not. Nothing I can say could ever get through to you. Not that you have ever listened to me in the first place. I'm wondering who this other mysterious person talking is. Because clearly not our protagonist here, and I don't think it's the princess, so... But you listen to her, though. Is she not your kind? Considerate mistress? Look now, she has come all this way to the dark depths of the castle's cold and hospitable dungeon to see you. Is that not kind of her? Oh, dear one, Princess Truls, entering the dungeon with a series of light, glittering steps. Seem like you're finally awakened. How are you? Based on all the infernal racket you've been making, it would seem like you have no shortage of energy. Balefully you turn your head, so as to meet the eyes of the princess. Standing but a few paces away, beneath the roughly hewn stone arc which bids one entry, but rarely ever an exit to the dungeons. Dungeons are dull and drab, but the princess is wearing her favourite red dress. It's so bright and brilliant that, for a few moments, it hurts you to look at her. Once the red of the princess's outfit makes you think of romance, now makes you think of violence. You must forgive me for leaving you down here for so long. That was unfair of me. Didn't think of waiting here with you, by your side, till you awoke, but... Once again, the princess giggles. My airy giggle which does not at all suit the situation in which you have found yourself. The dungeon is not a fit place after all, for a princess. It is horribly cold here and so very drab. There is nowhere nice and soft to lay my head. I could have brought my pillows down from my bed, I suppose, and my blankets, but they would have gone all dirty, and that would be a disaster. I need to be more careful. Won't have anybody left to clean up after my messes soon. Not when I've dispatched of you. Once again the princess laughs. Laughter is light and litting, like a chiming of a silvery bell, but it does little to alleviate your concern. I think makes you feel even more alarmed. Did she meant to say dispatch of you? Oh, I think she very much meant what she said. I mean, look around you. She definitely dispatched of more than one person already, so... Yes, that's right. Could you not tell? Thought you might have figured that out already, after waking up in a dungeon, silly. Still smiling, the princess takes another step towards you. With that, you would cringe away from her, but you cannot. You are completely powerless. The princess reaches out and places her hand upon your cheek. The skin is very white, and though her touch is cool, it is less so than the frigid air in the dungeon. Though your body is aching, the princess's touch is gentle. You find yourself leaning into it subconsciously. You wish she would keep holding you. You wish she could keep touching you. You look at her in a kindness as best you can. But though the princess' caresses are tender, circumstances rather undermine them. How can you act like this? You're such a good girl, the princess says, in a cajoling sort of voice. One might address a cat. You've been so lovely to me while we've been together. I really couldn't ask for a better servant. You must have been spoiled. Why then, you ask, is she doing this? Horrible though as it sounds, she might be the only one who chained up. There is nobody else in the castle who committed such a feat. Everybody else is dead. Why yes, how very astute of you. I was the one who orchestrated all this naturally. Naturally, she says, though her betrayal is a matter of course. Naturally. Why, you ask, is this so natural to her? What does she mean to do with you? Oh, only what I've done to all my other servants. I've experience with this sort of thing, so please don't worry. I'll take good care of you. And by take good care of, she means... Naturally, I'll kill you. Here it is again, that word, which seems grossly inappropriate, which, given all that has transpired, naturally. Nothing natural about this. Do you think so? Princess examines you, her expression ponderous. It's natural to me, even if it isn't natural to other people. This just feels right. Imprisoning her servants in the dungeons and letting them die? Yes, exactly. There's a bit more to do than that, though. Oh, of course there is. Unlike you, dear one, the princess says, in a voice which sounds uncommonly serious. You have been good to me, like I said, and kind. For that, I'll be eternally appreciative. You've been so good to me, in fact, simply being with you is not enough, not anymore. Your company can no longer content me. I'm a greedy, selfish girl, you see. Princess smile winds into something sinister, her eyes flashing with a fiendish fervor that you have never before witnessed. I don't want to feel you beside me. I want to feel inside me. Well, all things your charming captor could have said, you did not expect that. Princess Price knows in your confusion begins to giggle. Giggle even louder than that word, and just airy. It's just as inoffensive. I can see that you don't understand, dear one. But you aren't the only one. The last lady's maid said that too. Mainly the princess sighs. That word, woe is me sigh, which makes you look even younger than the scant handful of years she truly possesses. And the one before that, and the one before that, and the one before that one too. I thought that you at least might be able to appreciate my point of view, but perhaps not. Don't think it should be too complicated to grasp, really. But maybe my way of looking at the world is a little bit unique. That's what my nurse always used to say, at least, when she still hadn't the breath to speak up, of course. Look at the princess. What else is there for you to look, really? Her eyes are fixated on her face. She's still smiling, but there is something sinister about a smile. Perhaps in your anxious state, you are only imagining that there's something sinister about a smile. Easy to see things which do not really exist when your surroundings are stoned in shadows. Actuality, however, Princess does not look any different to how she usually does. Neither is she acting any differently to the way she usually acts. She has not changed. It is only your perceptive of her that has changed. Tremendously, you ask the princess what she means. Question the princess is only too happy to answer. It's simple, really. Like I said, you were wondering, weren't you, why there weren't any guards or any servants in the castle when you first arrived here? Question had crossed her mind, yes. They're sure that the princess said her ministers sent them away, though. Was that a lie? Yeah, well, I mean, look around how many bodies there are down here. Wasn't being wholly truthful, no. Thought you'd be afraid of me if you knew what had actually happened. I didn't want that. I want you to stay with me. The ministers didn't send anybody away, because I don't have any ministers. I'll dispatch to them too. Did she now? I suppose you're not to be surprised, but you still shudder regardless. My ministers weren't very much fun, I'm afraid. They had a lot of ideas about what I should and shouldn't do after my parents died. Princess stares at you, her eyes wide like black holes, empty yawning abysses. So, I killed them. I killed my servants too, though I did a more thorough job with them than I did my ministers. Did not care for my ministers, you see. They were all fusty old men. But I did love my servants. Loved my ladies' maids, and my undermaids, and my scullery maids, and my housekeeper, and my cooks, and my large routine of retainers. They were like my family. They raised me in my parents' absence, and I adored them. They were so very dear to me that I had no real choice. I had to eat them. Oh great! We fell in love with a cannibal! Fucking fantastic! So much for, being a vampire, as I thought, or ghost vampire. I mean, she's definitely, I guess it's a type of vampire, but instead of drinking blood, she's eating flesh. Wouldn't that mean werewolf, actually? Although without the transformation part. Oh, anyway. Does that follow? Not logically, no. Why? He asked the princess, who was trembling. Would you eat the people that you love? It's a poor way to repay them for their kindness. Well, why wouldn't you eat the people that you love? I don't think there could be any greater way of showcasing one's gratitude, unless you have any better ideas. We're expecting the princess to turn the tables on you quite like this, and dumbfounded, you stare at her. You know precious little about love yourself, so it's hard for you to form a convincing rebuttal, but you must have a few token arguments. Tell the princess that eating people isn't very nice, neither is it strictly legal. Better way to show your gratitude to your servants would be with increased wages or increased holidays. Princess listened to your argument, expression astute, like a student poised to take notes in a very important lecture. When she had finished, however, her concentration fails her. Shoulders begin to shake, but it's not with remorse for what she has done. Instead, she is laughing. Oh dear one, it's very funny. But why should I care about law? I'm a princess. One day I'll be the queen. I am the law. It is a good point, but would any people not turn their subjects against her? What subjects? I'm no fool, you know. I know how I might act, and I know what happens beyond the castle's walls. I know all about the plague. Once I might have had a populace to govern, but they're all gone now. I'm a princess and nothing but a name only. A monarch without any subjects. Do you think that's sad? I know I do. So woefully lonely. She feels lonely, then why has she been systematically slaughtering all her domestics? Doesn't make a lick of sense. Perhaps not to you. Gently the princess caresses your cheek. I shouldn't judge you too harshly. Much as I like you, dear one, you are a commoner. Perhaps you can't understand the intricacies of my thoughts. Privately, you doubt that anybody would be able to understand the intricacies of the princess's thought process, largely because it is unreasonable. Do not say that, though. Instead, you ask her the only question you can think to ask, with your very throat, which is sore from shouting. Why? Why, you ask? Princess blinks. It's because I don't want you to leave me, of course. I'd rather leave sooner or later, whether they have pledged their allegiance to me or not. Simply the way of the world. People are fickle and inconsistent. Even to me, a monarch. This is why I've decided to eat my servants. I had no choice, you see. It was the only way to ensure that they would never leave me. I mean, even once they're in their body, they're going to eventually leave you, just through other bodily means. If you think about it, they should be grateful that I would demean myself so, consume their flesh and blood. I'm a magnanimous, that word, ruler, you see. I treat all my subjects equally. Love you. I love every single one of you. And naturally, I love you too. You've been awfully nice to me. And you are very pretty alongside it. You are a plain ugly girl. Perhaps I would not shower you with affection quite as intense as this, but you captured my heart. I think you're very lovely. So I will stay upon you the highest honour of I can conceive of. I want your body to mix with mine. Then we can stay together forever and ever. Princess leans in. You can feel her soft silken hair brushing against your cheeks. You can feel too the warmth of her breath as it goes against your skin. It's cold in a dungeon, but the princess's close proximity is traversed through though this might sound something of a comfort. Eyes wide and her lips so red. The smile, meanwhile, is so sweet. I'm doing my best to fulfill the role that fate has dictated for me, but really, the princess exhales. Her eyes, which are boring into yours, are like two dark tarns. Finally, you think you can see the alarming lack of light, lack of anything. The princess's gaze seeing some degree of humanity. It gets so lonely here. Yeah, now that we're down here, that has a whole other meaning. But this brief trickle of understanding which passes between the pair of you is soon cut short. Princess dips her head. She parts her lips, which are red as the petals of the carnivorous flower. Feel the princess' breath against your neck. It's warm in the icy chill of the dungeons. You shudder from it. For a few moments, you think that this overture of the princess's could be romantic in a way, but this too comes to a swift, merciless close. Princess's mouth is on your neck. Princess's teeth, sharp as needles, are in your flesh. Princess draining your blood. She is supping on it in great, greedy goblets, like a hungry animal, one who cannot truly comprehend the harm it is causing. Even as the princess sobs from you, her arms twined around your waist, you find you cannot hate her. She is far too unworldly. But sure, as your consciousness begins to fade, that the princess was being sincere when she spoke of her love for the past servants. It is simply the way the princess expresses this great love of hers, love which is so very abundant, borders upon the monstrous. It's a love you never thought that you would ever experience. This love of the princesses eclipses anything you've ever known before, eclipses sanity, eclipses reason, eclipses all notion you might have had of right or wrong. Princess, as you full well know, does not care about such concepts. You have always possessed a stubborn core, nestled beneath your weak-willed exterior, but the princess is ever stubborner than you are. Face of her love, you have met your match. Princess draws back, desperately you gasp for air, but she does not give you any quarter. Just before, she dips her head, her red lips redder, still with your blood, and splits apart your jaw. Teeth, which are impossibly inhumanly sharp, glint wickedly like knives. Then she tears out your throat. The front of your nightgown was white once. Now it is red. There's so much blood, you can smell it when you inhale, sharper than metal. So potent you can taste it on your tongue. Try to inhale, but this task proves to be beyond you. What with the twin fornications that have ruptured your skin. Your tender breasts, when they escape your lips, sound like sad, sorry wheezes. Whole body, meanwhile, feels as though it is on fire. Therefore, quite the sorry sight indeed. But you'll forgive me if my sympathy is limited. Did bring this upon yourself, you know. Reap what you sow. In your case, made a series of bad decisions which led to your ultimate demise. Now, what do? You accept the fate of yours and rest in peace? Or you try to fight against it? Oh, we got another choice. I mean, it wasn't entirely her fault, but I mean, she couldn't have known any better, but wondering how much worse it would have been if we let whoever we were running from catch up to us. Okay, well, let's try accepting our fate first. Sure, it would just end well for us. What, really? If I were being eaten alive in a dark, dingy dungeon and being left to rot? Does not sound like a very satisfying ending to this particular narrative. But if that is what you want, then so be it. Do not mind indulging you. That is what I have always done, after all, from the moment we first met. Dedicating myself tirelessly to answering your wishes. This is no different. Do not be foolish to think, though, that you can escape me, even if your life's blood has mingled with that of the princesses. I'm not going to relinquish my hold upon you that easily. I did pledge, after all, to remain by your side, come what will, fire or flood. Never leave you. You'll never be lonely again. Interesting. So, wait, is this person that is talking to us the person that our main character has been running from, potentially? Anyway, going to just load back up and see what happens when we fight against your fate. That is a good answer, must admit. I like it. It's impressive how very defiant you can be, even in a situation as discomforting as this. Now, try not to cry. Keep your chin up. This is but a minor setback in your story. This, like all fairness means, you are deserving of your own happy ending. Need only the strength to try and seek it out. Why don't we give this another go? Try to ensnare the hearts of any more monarchs, particularly those with unusual appetites. You are destined for far higher purposes than being an entree, and there are vastly more enjoyable ways to be eaten in this world. Fate is once again in your hands. Now, I wonder, which path will you take? Oh, so it leads back to here. Interesting. Well, I'll be leaving it for this part here, because I've been recording for nearly 2 hours. Well, actually a little over 2 hours, but I'm definitely going to be checking out these other options, because I'm very much intrigued by this. So, I'll be seeing you guys in the next part.